Marshall Johnson's great-great-granddaddy was a slave owner.
Not true.
He owned my great-great-granddaddy. You need to pay up $3 million.
Pay what you owe. Wow. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Sintel with the Intel, and I am here with the beautiful Michael Leclerc.
Thanks, Intel.
Hey, you saw that. I had to enunciate and all that. Hey, so this is episode 4 of Atlanta 1 through 3 has been off the chain. If you haven't watched it, go ahead and look down in the description. The links are right there, so go ahead and catch up. Hey, make sure you give us those thumbs up as well. Let's get started.
シンテルリアクス
Wait, you're listening?
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
Alright.
Thanks, FX.
It's alright.
Yeah, we definitely missed something.
Nah, it's whatever. Go ahead.
Something must have happened.
Yeah, she
Can I get a large coffee, please?
denied him or something. Is that all?
Yeah. Thanks.
Everybody's so stuck in their own world, like old girl behind them in her phone.
Yeah. Oh, I was about to say, I'm not driving with him on because then he can't hear.
Oh, he took those?
Did he take them or did
Yeah, he didn't pay for those.
Oh, he did it on accident?
Yeah, you know what? I think,
The guy put it in his pocket, right? No.
No, I thought he did them on accident.
Oh.
Well, maybe the dude did put it in his pocket.
I don't know.
I don't think I saw him put it in.
I don't think I did either.
I think he accidentally took it.
I feel like something is about to really weird happen, and I
mean,
don't
it's
know.
Atlanta. Of course, something weird's going on.
I don't know how to feel. He's getting followed.
Here we go.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know where we are.
The big payback, huh? The big payback.
Oh gosh, I don't know what's happening. Where is Ern?
Like, irresponsible way to solve this. The Tesla investor was the owner of this black man's mansion.
Unknown.
Also the owner of that man's future. You're right. You're never gonna...
I'm
Silent.
trying to listen to the radio too.
Oh,
They're
yeah, I
talking-
know what they're saying.
They're debating something.
Yeah, well, they're talking about that that lawsuit,
Yeah.
the Tesla.
He's rich.
We're meeting.
Uh-oh.
What for?
Oh, her face.
Uh-oh.
Her face didn't look too
Shrimp company not doing too well, huh?
right. I'm sorry, that's just crazy.
I mean, if you made your money off of the strength of black bodies.
Lucky them. Not a care in the world.
Really? Sorry. Goodness. 695 have any kind of significance? I'm sure it does. I just don't know what it is.
Very rarely is the frame wasted.
Exactly.
Marshall Johnson?
Yes.
You've been served.
Yep. Somewhere down your bloodline.
She said, "Don't slam my door." Look at the daughter now. She said, "Don't slam my door."
Wow.
69% Ashkenazi Jew, baby.
You're Jew? You're Jewish?
The world can finally know. We were slaves too.
69%.
We were slaves too.
69%.
That was like a million years ago.
Wow. This, you got it. There's always a. Keep thinking.
Oh yeah, I've definitely got some thoughts. I don't know what to think, actually.
Marshall Johnson's great-great-granddaddy was a slave owner.
Not true.
He owned my great-great-granddaddy. You need to pay up $3 million.
Pay what you owe. Wow.
Oh, she's still out there. What does that say? Shut fridge door tightly. Oh.
Everybody looking at him.
Well, they don't know their own.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Yo, it's so uncomfortable for him.
You what?
He ain't
Honestly,
lying.
my advice,
Look, I love how it cut.
you gotta
He's like, I
fight
ain't
that
trying to
shit,
hear none
man.
of that.
Of course.
Coming as hard as her.
Say you were
It's
wrong
principle.
and pay what you owe.
You don't have $3 million.
How is that even fucking possible? This concerns all of us, Willie.
He's laughing
Really,
underneath.
like, who us?
No, don't ask.
who this us thing? Yo, this is a trip.
Rather by the car. You think she was
I was supposed to pick her up.
Oh, look at his lamp. You saw his lamp in the can? In the recycling can?
Oh, I missed it.
Have you checked your background? This could have easily happened to you.
I'm Peruvian. This would never happen to me.
You were white yesterday.
Listen, when the water rises, rats scurry.
They were already separated. It wasn't like they
True,
were.
but you know, now it's just one less thing. She can disassociate herself from a former slave owner. Yo, she got folks already at the spot chilling. They barbecuing and everything.
Oh.
She said, there you go.
Listen to some Key Sweat.
There you go.
Wow. You know they got out Key Sweat.
You ain't lying. They really do got Make It Last Forever playing in the back.
Forever.
Oh my God.
Shit. There.
Was in there.
Oh, well, not his stuff anymore either, right?
Restitution taxes.
Excuse me.
That damn Donald Glover out here trying to terrify people. Yo.
All I know is.
Hey, listen, and that terrify is subjective.
All I know is. You were white yesterday.
You said you was white yesterday.
You were white.
I'm
yesterday.
Peruvian.
That right there was the quote of the whole episode.
Oh, go ahead, man. Ease your pain.
Think about that Madeline you stole.
Yeah, the privilege to steal that cookie, and now there's wait a Yeah, here come the
Now
waterworks.
you have to eat a free hotel cookie.
Listen, I don't want to say I'm an animal and be like, I don't feel a little bad for him. I do feel a little bad for him.
I do.
This is terrible. If you're him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But listen,
I feel
let
bad.
me find. We'll talk about it.
I feel bad about his daughter. I feel bad for his daughter.
Yeah.
More than anything.
I can understand the
Distraught.
Yeah, the
Distraughtness.
distraught.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yep. Oh, I actually saw that.
Wow. I was not expecting that. My man just he just.
Where that came from?
Wow. He just,
He said there's more where that came from.
Just, I'm gonna just go ahead and take care of these tables real quick. Wow. Now I wonder who they serving. That's what I want to
Oh,
know.
you can hear the music.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah, you hear the music. You know who owns the restaurant. Come on now.
See who they serving.
Come on now. Oh yeah, you already knew.
Okay.
Oh, there's a diverse mix of clientele.
Everybody eating good.
It's
And
over.
then the jam comes on.
It's over already?
So interestingly enough, this is another Atlanta story that does not focus on the crew. You know, so we're on episode 5, and almost half of the episodes really haven't had anything to do with the crew.
Well, yeah, the interesting thing is I feel like it goes every other.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you know, the first episode wasn't focused on them, then the second was, and then what are we on? We're on 5, right?
Yeah, I
okay.
thought we're on 5.
Okay, well anyway,
Let's see.
it seems...
No, we're on 4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
sorry, we're on
it goes-
episode 4.
Yeah, so it goes goes every other.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, it's been interesting. I don't know how I feel right now.
Well,
I know, go ahead.
No, because I want you to kind of just like mull on it for a little bit, because I don't really know how I feel either just yet. But that's the beautiful thing about some of these reactions, is because you're gonna get a chance to get our first thoughts. So please don't hold them to us permanently, because we're having a ton of processing.
Processing, yeah.
I'll say this. There has been an interesting way that he has gone about humanizing some of the experiences by not making people look like straight up villains in the beginning, and then the storytelling unfolds, and then maybe you'll feel some way differently about that person. We saw that with the couple that was adopting, was fostering kids, and we didn't really know what to think of them initially. But as the story unfolds, you get a bigger picture, right? This is kind of like what we saw with this one. like the white dude. I think one of the most poignant moments to me is in the very beginning. And he's casually just, going about his day like he normally does. He's listening to his podcast, and he accidentally steals some of the mandolins. Madeleines. Okay. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. The Madeleines. Hops back in the car, realizes he makes a mistake, and never minds it, right? Didn't even go back to be like, oh man, my bad. Let me pay for it, or let me let you know that I took this. Now I've had, I don't know how many times where something has happened and I've had a guilty conscience because I know the consequences for me doing something like that are going to be extraordinarily higher than for somebody that's white. So to me, if I had had that in my pocket, I'm like, damn, I didn't mean to do that, And me personally, I would just return. I'd probably even pay for it. But I'd be like, look, my bad, I did this thing, right? And then keep it moving. But for him, because his privilege is the way it has always been, it was like, it's a little goof in the system. My bad. Not only do I not care, I'm gonna eat him. And they kept it moving. So this is a guy who is oblivious to the privilege that he just walks around with, day to day. I also enjoyed the choice of, hold on, let me not go on my tangent. How are you feeling?
About that situation?
What about just in general? Just everything.
Well, I don't want to go over like everything all in one spiel.
Yeah,
so
I'll stop right there.
The thing that I find interesting about this show, in particular this season, is that it tells a story in a way that's not like directly telling the story, right? So it's like kind of like a different way to go about telling something. Okay. Yeah. Which I find extremely fascinating, right? Because when you talk about reparations, basically is what he's talking about, but he's giving it from the perspective of this white man, right? Or Nordic, whatever he is. No, he's not Nordic. Whatever he is, white man. And so it's interesting that he gives it that take on it. So that's what I'm really enjoying about this season, is that the perspective is different, but it's telling a story that we all are aware of. Yeah. It's just a different way to think about it and make us uncomfortable in a different way. Right. Well, I mean, I was uncomfortable. From my perspective, I was like, let's see how this pans out. I wasn't as comfortable as I was just interested. Yeah. But I can understand the uncomfortable moments. Let me be clear. Yeah. I can understand the uncomfortable moments. Yeah. I also like the choice that they had with this guy in particular. He's just your average Joe. He's not like Elon Musk type of wealthy. He's got his day-to-day. He's got, problems with his family. Like many folks have problems with their family, but it's looked upon a little bit differently when it's coming from somebody that looks like him. And for him, who hasn't enslaved people, but is still benefiting from what his ancestors have done, whether he wants to admit it or not, and indirectly as it may be, is stuck in a position where he has to pay for the sins of the father. Right? So I liked that it wasn't just some dude that's extremely one way of thinking. Never, I'm not gonna do this, and it's just your average Joe. I thought that was a really good choice. And what does that look like for him, and how uncomfortable that he is? And I can understand his discomfort, but I'm watching it and I'm like, there's so many people that have had to live an uncomfortable life, be put in uncomfortable circumstances due to the sins of slavery. And as that generational curse has been passed down, from generation to generation, and then they unveiled something else that was really interesting, and that was like the curse of whiteness. Now that's a whole different topic that I want to kind of like maybe just pose a quick question to you, and that was we were introduced to a character who sits down our main guy and explains how he feels about how reparations are affecting him and just white people in general. How'd you feel about that, or maybe? No, I thought it was a good conversation. It gave him a different way to look at what was happening to them, and that it's actually pretty valid, right? So, I think that it was a good conversation to have. I'm very curious as to why he decided to kill
his own life.
Yeah, take his own life.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was an interesting choice, right?
Yeah, that was a very interesting choice to me, because he's saying we're free of the curse. Right. We're no longer cursed, and this is a way that we can finally make amends, and we don't have to pretend it didn't happen and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden he's like, well, yeah, we're free of the curse, but I'm still leaving. And so that part threw me a little bit, but the conversation needed to be had because then it gave this man who was like, oh, woe is me, a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the conversation with E?
I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't either.
I don't know what I was expecting. That's the great thing about some of these shows. You just don't know what to expect. And so he does break it down in a way that makes absolute sense. He was like, my dad lied to me. He thought I built this business with these bare hands. And there's a lot of people that think that, that they didn't have help. And especially help off of the blood, sweat, and tears of black people. But even though he gets it, it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to live in that world.
That's true.
You know, you can understand it and you can get it, 100%, but are you going to be actively participating in it? He chose not to. But there was something that I thought was kind of poignant, and that is that he said, your daughter does not have to live with this anymore. It was kind of like, you are freeing the burden from your daughter by doing this. There's nothing else that can be said. You have paid your reparations in order to make amends, and she can walk guilt-free. Because I do believe that there are many white people that do just harbor that guilt. They carry it with them, and a lot of the decisions that affect us is based off of that guilt, be it in a positive and or a negative way. But this little girl won't have to do that. So it was a weird, strange kind of redemption for something that I'm sure would be very uncomfortable if you were a white person going through that.
The other thing that I found fascinating was his whole, and I keep saying the woe is me because it was a woe is me. He played the victim, of course. Not of course, but I'm just saying in this particular situation, he played the victim. The fact that Shaniqua came and took that house.
She was like, it's my house.
Shaniqua brought the friends over.
She brought the police.
She said the court service. The man. She came and brought Keith Sweat. She brought the cookout. She had somebody chasing him away from her home. So it just, the way that it paralleled, and it was so much more extreme, obviously, when, slaves were taken from Africa for other parts of the Caribbean.
Yes, and none of that compares.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's the thing.
That's the brilliance of the perspective. Because he's playing the victim. Literally, he had a frown on his mouth. And was like, oh, I think this is so wrong, and I don't know what to do. And his home, so the home thing, right? That parallel, the daughter and the wife being taken away. When they're still down the street, you can go visit when you want to. It's like that whole is, what is a paradox? It was fascinating to me. I was like, shed a tear. Where's the little violin? The little 2-finger violin.
Yo, I love it when he tried to ask his homeboy for advice.
Oh, Lester.
Lester was like, you really want to hear it? Listen, let me just tell you something. And I love that. You know what? It was real to me because I can see many of my homeboys sitting me down in that moment, be like, listen, admit you were wrong and pay what you owe. Keep it simple. And before he could even get into the second, whatever the thing is he was going to say, it already cut. And he was talking to
his other office mate.
Yeah, so he was like, I ain't trying to hear that.
Well, the crazy thing was, he was like, yeah. He said, I was raised around a lot of black women. Oh, I figured that.
Yeah, it was low. Yeah, it was.
Well, because in my head, I'm like, how do you know he wasn't raised by those crazy women that adopt those foster children? You know what I mean? So I'm just saying the assumptions that people make. But anyway, I digress. That was hilarious.
I don't know what's funnier, the make it last forever. The fact that his homeboy was like, listen, you just need to say you're sorry and pay what you owe. Or, and I think who might steal the crown, is after this horrific event of my man taking his life, blowing his brains out, right, and falling into the pool, bleeding out, and everybody's all shocked. Yo, my man, the busboy, was just cleaning the table like nothing ever happened. Like, well, it's gonna get a lot worse than that. And for me, and I could be wrong on this, it's like so many times they'll look at like black communities and the violence that goes on in black communities, or the mortality rate of people that are stricken by drug abuse in the community that die. There's so many different instances of how Racism has shortened the lives of many black Americans. And people just walk by like it's nothing when they see the blood count. I mean, when they see the body count. When they see the rampant health issues that we have, post-traumatic stress syndrome, all the things and woes that go down, people just walk by like nothing ever happens. Just like he was sitting there watching that table. He's like, yeah, I mean, you know, it's jacked up and all. I felt that. He was just like, you know, sometimes you gotta shoot yourself.
And the thing was, not only I know you compared it to a lot of the things that are like currently happening, but if you go back to slavery yet again, the horrific things that happened during slavery,
bigger facts,
and who's turning a blind eye, who's keep on working, you know what I mean? You just gotta keep on working, and then we're supposed to look at it like, you know, that's our family, that's our community, that's our tribe, you know what I mean? And so it's like, I feel like it was that whole comparison, and then. It's funny because the way that they wrote it, there are some people might see that busboy keeping on going like completely like a horrific thing and how disrespectful and all this stuff, right? But when you look at it the other way, are you so quick to be so judgmental?
Not quick at all. If anything, it would have been like, well, he should have known better than this. It would have been even worse.
Exactly.
But when it's flipped and you're not the person that's the busboy, it looks horrific.
Exactly.
That just, my God, it's
brilliant.
just brilliant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Now keep in mind, these are all of our ideas and thoughts fresh off of watching it. We haven't had a really good time to sit and let it marinate. So I am really going to be curious to hear what everybody else has to say and think. There was like one more thing that I thought was really poignant too. And that is, many of us know somebody that pays child support and have to have some of that money taken out of your check. It's just a part of the process. And for them to have like the taxes the reparation tax, and them like, you know, you have to discuss whatever that amount is and make sure all that is cleared and your paperwork is cleared. I'm curious as to what like some people thought of that. Of that notion of having to do that. And I thought it was also interesting too that not everybody paid the same amount.
Well, not everybody owes the same amount.
Right. So you would have thought it was like, I don't know, I guess in my head I was like, maybe it's like some flat tax across the board. And then it was like 10% for this guy, but it was like 15% for this other dude. And the other dude was looking at him like, damn, how many slaves your daddy own?
Well, no, I just figured it. I figured it like, because he owed $3 million. So what percentage are you paying back? That's how because some people may owe like $10 million, so they're gonna give 15% or whatever it is.
Oh, and maybe he willingly paid more because he understands.
I don't think he understands.
That's a good question. Do you think he understood at the end? You don't think he understood that is a justifiable thing that's happening to him?
No.
Okay, I'm curious. I took from it that maybe he did get it and he's just going to pay what he owes. I may be wrong.
No, I'm just curious what made you think that.
Well, because he didn't seem
to the Hispanic guy.
Well, because he didn't seem angry. I mean, I will happily say that I'm probably incorrect, but that was my first thought. I thought he was like that, like whatever that conversation was that he had with that guy might have been enough for him to see the bigger picture and just pay what you owe. Just like you pay your taxes to Uncle Sam, you're gonna pay your taxes for the fact that your family has built wealth and prestige, no matter the level, off of the backs of black people. So I figured it's just like, you know, you pay Uncle Sam, you're gonna pay this reparation tax.
Yeah, but that doesn't make me think he understands and that he's happy just because he knows that he has to pay it. Like, what is he going to do? Like, run? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that other dude was clearly running. The guy that took his life.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean, just because you don't run from it doesn't mean that you accept it.
Very true.
Yeah, so me, it's just a matter of, it's like one of those things like, right, we flip it again, right?
Okay, right.
If he were a black person, he's doing what he needs to do to survive and get by and create a life for himself. And,
very good point.
You know what I mean? You can't sit here and dwell on everything. I mean, you know what I mean? So I think that's really the perspective they gave. I didn't see it as, I accept everything. My mind has changed and we owe this and we gonna pay it and work and serve. And I don't see it like that.
That's
I
fair.
see it as, what else are you supposed to do, right?
There was one more interesting thing. God, there's so many things. We can sit here and talk about this forever. I don't want to do that. But there was one more kind of interesting thing, and that is Okay, so there's the one drop rule. If you live in North America, you live in America, and that is if you have one drop of black blood in you, you are black. Period. That's just what it is. So many people have been running from that, from their blackness, their alleged blackness, from having one drop. But here, as you say, we flipped it around, and his wife was like, "Nah, I'm Peruvian."
The office lady, 65% Jewish.
Yeah, she was like, "No, I'm Jewish."
Yeah.
Like damn near shouting it from the rafters.
Yeah. We were enslaved too.
Yo, my man was like, "Hey, but my family was enslaved." She was like, "That was so long ago."
Yeah.
To see that just get turned around
That's what I'm saying.
I was like,
it's
wow.
brilliant.
Okay.
I'm 100% Nordic. How does that even happen?
Okay, one more thing. How did you feel about the guy that decided to just admit it and wear the shirt, but there was something else that you brought up and saw that many people may have missed, and I think it is what it is. He was wearing the shirt that said that his family had slaves, owned slaves, but it appeared that he had a pistol on the side as well.
It was either a pistol or a cell phone.
Okay.
And I don't know. And it's funny because you know how we always go deep, right?
Right.
It makes me ponder how a lot of times black people in America, it's mistaken. A cell phone is mistaken for something else. I'm reaching.
Okay.
I'm reaching.
It's okay, but remember, this is our first thought.
My first thought.
These are first thoughts.
So that was my first thought. I was like,
Okay.
is that a gun? Is it a cell phone? What's on his hip? You know what I mean?
I didn't even peep it until you pointed it out.
Yeah, I
had
was
to
like,
look.
I want to go back and look at that again, but I was like, not, we're not doing it right now, but I was like, what is that? Is that? And I think it might have been. But I mean, the shirt was not his idea.
No, but it's better than paying.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I think that's what we were taking from it. I guess he had a choice.
Yeah.
You can just admit that you are this person, and I love how they said he had to wear it on Sunday.
Yeah. While we listened to Keith Sweat and at the cookout at our house now. There's so much. It's so much. Go ahead.
And then there's one more thing. Like I said earlier, so Elon Musk. I'm not sure how much truth this holds, but it has been alleged and said in many circles that he is, I think he's from South African descent, I think. And his wealth, the basis of his wealth that has been used to create Tesla, was based off of minerals and mines. I think maybe rubies, maybe a ruby mine or something, but I knew it was like minerals in Africa. And his family had built their wealth off of, once again, the blood, sweat, and tears of black people. And that has allowed him, and certainly given him a leg up into achieving the heights of companies such as Tesla and all of the other thing. And that was what was being talked about on the radio. And he was having to give up a part of his wealth as a part of it. So they kept the Tesla part true. And I think they just said it was just some random executive that happens to work at Tesla. But it was still really close to being on the nose. And I'm not sure if everybody else knew that. You probably want to research it, and I probably am going to research it as well. But that's what's been going around the block regarding him.
Well, the thing is, when they've been showing these episodes that don't have the main characters in it, based off of the comments and some of the things that we've looked at, it's based off of true facts.
Right.
So it probably is true. Well, some part of it, some portion of it, some version of it.
Yeah, I'm just saying this because I haven't personally vetted it.
Oh, me neither. But that's what I'm saying.
That.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm sure that it possibly could because that's been the way that it's gone so far.
Right.
I had one more thing I know we keep saying one more thing.
I know, but that's how good the episode has been though.
Wait, okay, so I had one more thing. Okay, so the other thing is this, right? Okay, what did you think about the last, little bit of the story where the Hispanic guy was on the bus?
Yeah.
And the Caucasian driver, woman was looking at him and they smiled or something. And so he goes to work and then Marshall, says some Spanish to him.
Yeah.
So I'm curious because I have my own take on it, but what was your take on what that meant?
And I'm still trying to I sat on that for like a hot second as we were closing everything out. And that is, okay, so we have another community who hasn't suffered the atrocities of slavery, but is still trying to figure out a way to assimilate and be a part of the American mix, right? And they are still on the lower tier. And that is our Mexican brothers and sisters. And for him, it seemed like it was just a regular typical day at the office for him because he's just going to, be a busboy or maybe a waiter.
He said a busboy.
Okay. But a lot of times in the positions that you see, like people that are like bus drivers, of his like janitorial positions and stuff is normally people of color, typically. So you saw the white lady had switched up, and there's a lot of people that were like still being gainfully employed, and he was a part of that type of the workforce because he wasn't working for a company that owned a big shrimping company that was in a cubicle. Now he's like a waiter in the back in the service field in the back of the kitchen. So, and more than likely, here's another thing. It just hit me. So, based on who you are can determine the type of jobs that you have. And if they're running background checks on if you are somebody who has owned slaves, there's a very good possibility that it's going to limit the types of jobs that you have available to you. So more than likely, because he didn't go back to another cubicle job.
No.
He's working, he's working in the back of the kitchen where a lot of times people that look like me and you, it's an easier way to get in to earn money with those type of jobs than others where they have certain kind of unquote requirements and restrictions and glass ceilings that we're not allowed to participate in.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and I thought it was interesting because when he did speak Spanish to him, he was like, "Oh, you better be careful, or they're gonna have you be one of the busboys." You know what I mean? So I think that it still was discussing the other
still levels to it,
other cultures in this, in our society and in communities, and even though this is happening between Caucasian people and Black people, there's other people, and really like they still have their place and perspective too.
Dude, you just said something that made me think. And that is, okay, so you know how like there's certain tiers of the racial cake as far as going up and getting the cream of the crop, right? And from my perspective, Black people are at the very bottom, right? At least that's how it appears and feels to me. So now, because of reparations, we are no longer at the bottom. Now we're above where the people are that have benefited off of slavery. We're like slightly above them, or maybe more above them. But yet, even still, there's a bit of privilege. Even still, where you're not as low as the Mexican guy that was speaking Spanish, and he was warning him. He was like, "Listen, you keep on pretending that you're me, you're gonna get treated like me." That's a good point.
That's what I got from it. So I was like, wow.
See, it takes a second to process.
It does, and this
some
has
of
been
this
a very extremely long conversation.
Yeah. We're definitely about to cut this off. This has been absolutely way too long, but thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thought-provoking. It's just a thought-provoking show.
Very thought-provoking. Hey, so please do me a favor, if you're digging the vibe and everything and the conversation, of course leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscription button, and of course
Keep it friendly. Keep it friendly.
Keep it friendly.
This is an interesting
I know it's gonna be some.
Keep it friendly.
Keep your guard up at all times while you in them comments.
Just keep it friendly.
You're right.
Keep it friendly.
All right, hey, it's your boy Cinto with the Intel. I am here with the beautiful Michael Claire.
Farewell.
We still got season 5. Episode 5 coming.
This was episode 5.
This was episode 4.
This was 5.
This was 4.
Okay. This was 4.
Yeah, this was 4.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. We out of here. Peace out.